The Astros' road to respectability took a late-inning detour last night. But one facet of Houston's game that stayed on the right track was excellent starting pitching. Tonight, Jordan Lyles looks to fire off a KC masterpiece and hope his teammates can derail Royals ace James Shields. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Astros baseball starts now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's the deciding game of this 3-game series between the Houston Astros and the Kansas City Royals. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby waiting to see now if another team will come from behind to win, as the Astros did in Game 1 or the Royals did in Game 2 of this series, Ash.
Well, it has been that type of a series to this point. Bud Norris was awfully good last night. Gave the club a chance to win, but the last 3 innings with the bullpen, it obviously fell apart.
Well, the lead was provided by Jimmy Paredes with a 3-run homer last night. He had quite a ball game.
Jimmy Paredes is starting to really swing the bat, left and right-handed, as we'll take note. That high fastball was not going to slip on by last night. He lined the single his first at bat. Right-handed, he was able to shoot one through the left side, and then the home run to right field, his first on the season. Jimmy Paredes had himself a big night, and what you hope is that this big night translates into confidence moving forward.
Now let's take a look at something here that's been pretty good lately for the Astros. The bottom of the order, Paredes with 5 hits the last 2 games. Matt Dominguez, who's getting a rest tonight, has 4, including a homer. And Marwin Gonzalez has a couple. So that allows the Astros to sustain some offense. They just didn't quite get that end-of-game pitching you talked about last night.
These guys are good. They've swung the bat well, producing runs. And when you can get runs from the bottom of the order, you should be able to win ball games.
Tonight, a real challenge for the hitters. James Shields. Big game James is on the mound for Kansas City.
And that means tough work for the Astros hitters, no doubt. He can throw all the pitches. He can spot them where he wants. Tough competitor. Great guy in the clubhouse and dugout for the Royals. His changeup will make guys freeze, and he'll spot the corners like you see in this sequence. But James Shields is the real deal, and it's going to be a tough battle for the Astros tonight.
Speaking to that changeup you mentioned, Ash, last year there was a slugging percentage of .385 against his changeup. This year, .219. Hardly anybody's damaging that pitch.
The one thing about James Shields, he will give up some home runs, but he won't put many men on base. You look at the overall numbers on him this year, they're phenomenal. The batting average against just above 200. The ERA among the leaders in baseball. The WHIP also in that category. Statistically, he is among the very best.
Now for Jordan Lyles, we swing on over to Layla Rahimi.
Well, thanks very much, gentlemen. This is another start for Jordan Lyles as he continues to make his way through the starting rotation. And the Astros starting rotation has seen a week of very consistent pitching out of them. It's something that manager Bo Porter said he was encouraged by. And he says his starters are starting to perform well. They've allowed only 8 earned runs amongst their last 5 starts. Not a bad group to be a part of, and only one decision, though. That was Lucas Harrell suffering the loss on Sunday. Good news, though, for Lyles. You see there he pitched 5 innings and allowed just 1 earned run. That was against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That was also his last time on the mound, and it's something that Bo Porter said he was encouraged by, especially the fact that Lyles was able to rebound after that first inning, and he was able to redeem himself and come out with 5 solid innings. This is the second time that Lyles will face Kansas City, who pitched 7 innings against that team back last year. Coming up, we will have first pitch between the Royals and the Astros. Bill and Alan back with a look at J.D. Martinez, hopefully serving up some just desserts for the hitter when we come back.
Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. It's the deciding game of this three-game series between Kansas City and Houston inside Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston. And one of the hot bats for the Astros lately has been the bat of left fielder J.D. Martinez. Ash.
J.D. Martinez got things started in a big way with this swing in Detroit. A monster home run to left center field. Goes way out of the ballpark. And sometimes that one big swing can get a guy going. He's had 3 multi-hit games in his last 7 starts. Starting to hang out some line shots, driving in runs, and using the entire field. Able to drive it down the right field side as well. So J.D. Martinez starting to become a big part of the offense.
Jordan Lyles is ready to face James Shields. And we'll be back in just a moment. Conclude this series, and we check the starting lineup now for Ned Yost, Kansas City Ball Club with a 21-21 record. He opens with second baseman Chris Getz, followed by Alcides Escobar, shortstop. It's Alex Gordon, a sizzling hitter in left field. The DH Billy Butler is the cleanup man, with Eric Hosmer at first base, Lorenzo Cain in center field, Mike Moustakas at third base, Jeff Francoeur in right field, George Kataris the catcher.
Jordan Lyles goes to the mound for the Astros. Right-hander, 22 years of age, 1-1 on the year, 6.63 the ERA. He's had problems with the first inning, but his last start at Pittsburgh, a no decision. He allowed just 1 earning in 5 innings.
He did give up that run in the first and struggled, but got out of it with only 1 run allowed. Getz takes, and there's strike 1 as he leads it off here with a .205 batting average. 1 homer and 9 runs batted in for Chris. He's been in and out of injury status, so it's hard for him to get a lot of playing time at second base. No balls, 2 strikes. Getz was the second baseman last night, batting 9th. He had 2 at bats before being removed for a pinch hitter from that game. Lyles facing Kansas City for the second time. He had a loss to them last year, 2-1 last June 20th here. Breaking pitch stays up a little bit, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Getz. Getz had 2 hits and drove in the run Sunday in Oakland, but he's hit only 136 since May 1st. Fastball line. Whew. And Lyles right into his glove, tosses the ball around the infield on a scary out number 1.
Well, I guess that'll get the adrenaline going early for you if you're a starting pitcher. What a play. Wow. And that's up in that head high region too. you think that doesn't happen quickly?
Well, that'll make sure that he's awake for the rest of this ball game. Alcides Escobar comes up next. Escobar, a .251 hitter, has 3 homers. He's driven in 18. Drove in 2 in last night's game coming off the bench. And the Kansas City come from behind win. Escobar looks at it. It's strike 1. James Hoy is the home plate umpire. Escobar drove in a run in the 7th inning when the Royals closed to a 3-2 deficit. This curveball's hit in the air to center field, and Robbie Grossman measures it. 2 outs.
Defensively for the Astros behind Jordan Lyles tonight. Doing the catching again, Jason Castro. Around the infield, Chris Carter at first, Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez, and Jimmy Paredes gets a start at third base with Matt Dominguez needing a day off. In the outfield, Robbie Grossman in center, flanked by Trevor Crowe in right, and J.D. Martinez in left.
Alex Gordon broke out with another 3-hit game last night to extend his hitting streak to 9 games. One of the hottest hitters on the planet right now. His batting average is 3rd in the American League at .352. 5th in the majors. He has 6 homers, 29 runs batted in, and a .921 OPS. And this one goes into center field. A 2-out single for Gordon and a 10-game hitting streak.
This guy's really something with the bat and defensively, but he's also very hot right now. He just has that stroke going. No matter where he hits it, he finds a hole. Doesn't matter to him if he's facing lefties or righties. In fact, his numbers have been even better against the lefties this year, well over 400.
Gordon's aboard and Billy Butler follows. Butler had a pair of hits last night. He is 14 for 32 on this road trip. His average has been raised to .274. He has 5 homers. He's driven in 30. Butler takes a breaking pitch off the plate, and it's ball 1 to Billy. Billy, 27 years old, from Orange Park, Florida. First round pick in '04 of the Royals. And they started building through the draft, and they have added then the pitching talent they picked up over the winter to this 2013 club. Ramped up the payroll, and it's somewhat disappointing probably to their faithful that they're only .500 right now, 21-21. Ned Yost club in 3rd place in the AL Central, coming into play today, 4 games behind front-running Cleveland. His 10th major league season, several at Milwaukee before getting this job. In tight, and Butler has moved off the plate on ball 3.
Kansas City has been very active in that first round of drafting players, and you can see some good names picked up. Billy Butler, of course. We're talking about Aaron Crowe, Alex Gordon, maybe the best of the lot. Luke Hochevar, a #1 overall. Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas. Yeah, that's a good list. And of course, Francoeur and Guthrie coming from other organizations. But they've got a load of talent in terms of draft picks.
Hot shot to short. And Marwin Gonzalez tosses to Jose Altuve to make it out number 3 from 6-4. No score. for Bull Porter, whose club is 13-33. Robbie Grossman center field, Jose Altuve second base, Jason Castro catcher. The cleanup man is left fielder J.D. Martinez. It's Chris Carter at first base, Carlos Pena the designated hitter, Jimmy Paredes at third base tonight, and Matt Dominguez gets the night off. Trevor Crowe in right field, Marwin Gonzalez the shortstop.
And James Shields on the mound. We've talked about him. He is very special when he's on his game. 31 years of age, just 2-4 on the year, but a great ERA, great batting average against, great whip on the season. Hasn't won over his last 3 starts. In each one of those starts, he worked 8 innings in each one of the ball games and a total of 4 earned runs over that span.
In his career, he has 89 major league wins, 77 losses. Robbie Grossman gets it started for Houston. Robbie's been drawing just about a walk per game on average the last week or so. That's the first pitch for James Shields that has not been caught by Salvador Perez this year. Strike one to Robbie Grossman, 207, no homers, 3 runs batted in. Perez getting another night of rest for that bruised hip. So as he works with George Gutierrez for the first time, he bounces that one, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Perez has told some people he's fine, he could play tonight, but cautionary reasons lead Ned Yost to leave him on the bench. In the air, and here's the third baseman Moustakas watching it go out of play, and we were told that Ned Yost had said that Salvador Perez had the quickest throwing release of any catcher he had seen, and coming into this season his plans were to catch Perez 140, maybe even 150 games this year. That's a load.
Does do a very nice job behind the plate. I might have to disagree in terms of release of what I've seen. Chris Stewart with the Yankees has a phenomenal release. If Salvador Perez is in that league, then he is something special.
Okay. 2-2 to Grossman. 2 hits, 2 walks for Robbie in this series. And he taps that one foul. Grossman's a battler. He typically goes to counts like this. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouls one off. He's seeing what James Shields has to offer. Shields has a lot to offer. Left-handed hitters are hitting 169 against him, Ash.
Because of the walks you talked about, Brownie, Robbie Grossman, who's hitting 207, has a .330 on base percentage, and that is close to, but actually above, the league average. And so, as a leadoff man, not doing a bad job in that regard.
On a walk at 5 straight games. Now work the count full. Shields very stingy with walks, but he's up there in starts every year among the leaders. Fly ball out to left center field sends Lorenzo Cain back, and that's out number 1. But Grossman took a little piece of Shields with him.
Defense behind James Shields. George Gutierrez behind the plate. We talked about around the infield. Eric Hosmer, Chris Getz, Alcides Escobar, and Mike Moustakas in the outfield. Lorenzo Cain just made the catch. In right field is Jeff Francoeur, and Alex Gordon will be in left field.
Frenchie Francoeur,
yeah,
right
he's got that big throwing arm that he's used to his certainly big part of the positive side of his game through the years.
That is a weapon for him. Jose Altuve is trying to snap an 0 for 13. At .318, he has 2 homers. He's driven in 20. And that one goes foul. Strike 1 for Jose. Jose 0 for 8 in this series, but he's driven in a run. He has hit third in 8 of his last 11 games, but again batting in the number 2 spot tonight. Balls back to curveball, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Shields, with just 15 walks in 66 innings, really hits his spots. Batting average against him overall is just .205. 16th round draft choice of Tampa Bay in 2000. Boy, has he panned out.
There's that changeup. And with lack of speed, it just dives toward Mother Earth right at the end. Watch this reaction. Good swing by Altuve. The baseball is just not quite there yet.
Yeah. Well, join the club. Shields strikes out another. He is 8th in the league in strikeouts. Now Jason Castro is the batter. 238 for Jason. 4 homers, 11 runs batted in for Castro. 1 for 7, a homer in this series. John Maley was talking about that last pitch to Altuve, the changeup. And he said what Shields does so well is pitch inside with his other pitches to right-handed batters, so the changeup gets them thinking they have to open up on an inside pitch, and they open up too soon, and the changeup floats in behind their swing usually.
The fastball on the inside part of the plate makes hitters have to feel like they need to be quicker. And once you start feeling like you need to be quicker, the changeup and curveball, slider, anything off speed will have a greater effect on you.
Castro with a foul ball takes it to 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the Astros' last 7 games, they're 3-4. Trying to nail down this series before taking the day off tomorrow and welcoming the high-flying Oakland A's over the weekend. Oakland 25-23 now. The 5-game winning streak for the A's snapped today by Texas. That's a little dunker out into center field, and Castro, well, the bat got away from him. But what a result on a flare to center on a 1-2 pitch. He has a 2-out hit.
Castro's thinking all that talk about make sure you get a good swing. Baloney. Just throw the bat at the ball.
How about the sound of that one?
Yeah. And this is what Shields does to left-hand hitters in particular. That changeup eats them alive. And all you can do, maybe sometimes, is throw the bat at it. But the left-hand hitters have suffered at the hands of Shields this year, hitting 169.
Gets J.D. Martinez to the plate. And there's strike one. Yeah, the sound of that bat hitting that ball was the sound of a bat not being gripped.
He had a good swing.
238 for J.D. 3 homers, 12 runs batted in. Good night last night. Single, a double, and a walk. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think the right-hand hitters actually benefit a bit more off of Shields because, like so many pitchers, he's not inclined to throw his changeup as often to the right-hand hitters. Does have the curveball and slider. That change is, you're almost defenseless at times as a hitter.
That's a foul. Still 0-2 to J.D. Martinez.
We're hearing some balls come off places other than the sweet spot on the bat right now.
You see what he's done with that off-speed pitch since 2011. This year, batting average way down to 151, slugging percentage 219 against his changeup.
But you're right. If you spot that fastball on the inside corner on hitters and then utilize that weapon, you can see why the numbers are as good as they are.
Missing there, and it's 1-2. Shields has 1 career decision against the Astros. He won a game here, a complete game effort, beating them June 24th in 2011. Shields involved in that huge trade between Kansas City and Tampa Bay over the winter in December. This is there, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Get a peek at that exaggerated stretch that James Shields has and has been picked up by teammates.
Well, in each of his 4 losses, he has quality starts. Opponents are hitting 198 against him. That's in his losses. He has a 2.32 ERA in his losses. Now ball goes foul. So obviously run support has been the major issue when Shields is on the mound this year. Shields beat the Astros here 5-1 in that game in 2011 through a 3-hitter, walk 1, fan 9. Ed Yost would go for another one of those. That was his 3rd consecutive complete game win at the time. Rarity in today's game. In the air to right field. That chases Francoeur back. And this one gets out. Opposite field, 2-run homer. J.D. Martinez, number 4. And an early 2-0 Houston lead. With back-to-back 2-strike hits and 2 outs in the inning. The Astros get the lead. Only the 7th home run yielded by Shields so far this season.
We apparently featured the right guy today. J.D. Martinez has been getting hot. He hasn't just stayed steady hot, but starting to drive the baseball. And when you see him drive one to left center like he did in Detroit and now hit one to right field here against James Shields, it's very nice to see for the Stros.
He got pummeled. Like that pitch got pummeled. There's strike one to Chris Carter. He pounded that one the other way. That's 14 runs batted in now for J.D. Martinez. Foul back, and it's 0-2. Carter with 9 homers, 23 runs batted in, leads the club in both of those departments. His batting average is .227 for Chris. Chris is 1 for 6 in this series. And the changeup works for a strikeout. Number 2 for Shields, but the Castro hit, in which he did not even hold on to the bat, set it up for Martinez to go deep the other way, and he held on, and he sent that ball over the right field wall for a 2-0 Houston lead.
We want to remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience.
Strolling the concourse at Minute Maid Park. Youngster getting settled. He'll want to get his eyes on the field for Eric Hosmer's at bat against Jordan Lyles. Or maybe not. There's ball one. Hosmer at .271. Has a homer, 12 runs batted in.
I think he was looking for a home run ball in that little bat.
Kids are allowed to be distracted from the game. That's tap foul, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Jordan Lyles. Will Porter was asked about Jordan when he first came up from the minor leagues with the Astros. He had been involved in those piggyback starts at AAA Oklahoma City, and with a maximum of 75 pitches in those games. First start here against Detroit was May 2nd. But for those first couple starts, the Astros watched him carefully because of that. He went 79 pitches in his first start, then 82. By the third start here, he was throwing 97 pitches. Last time 89, so he's good to go 100 or more tonight. Out into right center field. And that's caught by Robbie Grossman. Trevor Crowe peeled off. 1 out.
Robbie Grossman has done a nice job roaming the center field areas in ballparks, and with Brandon Barnes out there along with him, really done a fine job. Looks like Robbie at the last moment thinks, well, I wonder if I'm going to get collided with. Still hangs in there.
Yes, he did. Trevor Crowe sized it up and took a right turn. Lorenzo Cain, the batter. Cain looks, and it's ball one to him. At .299, he has 1 homer. 22 runs batted in for Lorenzo. Last night he had a single and a walk. Cain lives in Norman, Oklahoma in the offseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's been very concerned about the events there in Oklahoma the last few days. Not far from where that tornado ripped through in Moore, Oklahoma. 2 balls and a strike. Everybody in his family is fine. His wife Jenny and her family living in Norman. The tornado did not hit that area. Norman's about 20 miles south of Oklahoma City. only 8.5 miles south of Moore. And Lorenzo Cain's wife went to the University of Oklahoma in Norman. It's been a scary time for a lot of people. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the Astros Foundation is raising funds during this homestand for victims of that tornado. They'll have a silent auction through May 28th. The jerseys off their back silent auction at the Astros Foundation Community Clubhouse. It's on the main concourse. It's down by the right field foul pole, so when you come out this weekend, you can check that out. It'll be held there through May 28th, and some of the Astros players' wives will be there. Money raised to aid victims of the Oklahoma tornado, so you can talk with them. They'll sell mystery grab bags during the next few days of this homestand. Those grab bags will contain autographed baseballs at the community clubhouse, and 100% of all proceeds will go to the American Red Cross relief efforts for the Oklahoma tornado victims. Kansas City club is 12th in runs scored, has not hit its stride offensively for Ned Yost so far this year. And a foul ball there by Cain keeps him alive. They got swept at Oakland in 3 one-run ball games. They're 3-5 on this road trip, and they'll be heading for Anaheim after this game. They'll open up against the Angels tomorrow night. And former Angel Irvin Santana goes to the mound tomorrow night for Ned Yost. He's been a nice addition to the Royals. They got him in a trade. He's gone 3-3 with a 2.77 ERA.
3 guys at the top of that rotation were all picked up in the offseason.
Yeah. And, you know, there was all this excitement because of that, Ash. And, you know, they've been a young, developing club with low budgets, but they decided to go for it. And they traded one of the top prospects in baseball, outfielder Will Myers, among others, to Tampa Bay in this deal to get James Shields and Wade Davis, who started the first game of this series. So there's been a fair amount of excitement around Kansas City at the addition of those talented veterans. Struck him out. That's number 1 for Lyles.
Lyles really battled through that at bat with Lorenzo Cain. Just a tough out to finally be able to register. But yeah, that top end of the rotation really changes things. We talk about Jordan Lyles. The fastball in his last start, he cut back on a little bit more like James Shields, if you will. He started throwing the other pitches mixed in there nicely, the curve, the cutter, or slider, whatever you want to call it, and the changeup. And I think that's a nice combination for this young right-hander. He's still really trying to learn his craft. Everything looks like he should be able to put this together, and there's the nice changeup.
Yeah. Strike 1 to Moustakas. Moustakas, a 180 hitter with 4 homers, has 11 runs batted in. Last night he had a big RBI single in the 8th inning, going 1 for 4. That changeup has been a developing pitch for Lyles. He follows that up with the inside fastball.
I always wonder if there's not a tendency when you're opposing a guy like James Shields, or if you're just one of the other pitchers sitting on the bench and you watch how he goes about his games and how successful he is using the change and mixing around the corners, if you're not inclined to sit there and say, maybe there's something here for me to learn.
Yeah. Well, Lyles is a big 6'4" right-hander. You see the batting average against his changeup, it's down to .083. So with that big frame and the motion, he can really sell that changeup. That could be a big pitch for him, and it is becoming one now. Takes that long stride toward the plate too, Ash, and I think that might play into his hand to throw the changeup more.
Yeah, I think it could. And the one thing I will always say about the changeup is find a grip you trust and then throw it as hard as you can. Allow the grip to be what takes the speed off, not a slowing down of your arm.
Popped up. Jimmy Paredes is back. Marwin Gonzalez calls him off. Good collaboration on out number 3. And the Astros lead 2-0. Just a reminder now, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. As they stroll down Home Run Alley on the concourse out behind the left center field wall.
I see Jose Cruz right there, and he belongs there.
Hey, he'll be representing the Astros at the upcoming draft June 6th. His first time to be there in the studio at the MLB Network. They have the draft, and the Astros have the first choice.
One of the great players I had the privilege of playing with.
Now two former Tampa Bay Rays square off. Carlos Pena with a drive to right, and it gets by Francoeur. And here's Pena headed for second base. Francoeur tracks it down. Pena's going to stop there at second on the line drive that eluded the right fielder. Pena hit it well, but Francoeur was closing in on it, and then it appeared to be up in the lights.
Jeff Francoeur really hung in when you consider that he whiffed on a ball coming through those lights. Watch how this ball just goes right by him. Comes in, doesn't see it. That's hanging in there because that ball was head high. Wow. That last moment tells you he did not see the baseball.
That is a scary time for the fielder. It's a two-base hit. Now Jimmy Paredes bunts, but it's foul, strike one. That's the 8th double of the season for Carlos Pena. He had a good swing against his former Tampa Bay Rays teammate. Now he's in scoring position, and Paredes, who had the big game last night, is 5 for 7 in this series with a homer and 4 runs batted in. Jimmy last night reached base all 4 times with 3 hits and a walk. Hit the 3-run homer in the 4th. Off the fastball. We'll probably see a lot of changeups tonight from Shields. Escobar went to the bag there, and Pena back. Matt Dominguez is fine, but he has a bit of a strained quad or a little tender quad, but he's playable. But the Astros want to give him a day of rest, and he should be fully ready to go on Friday night with the scheduled off day tomorrow.
Don't lose that home run stroke, Matt.
No.
He has started picking that up of late.
That had 2 hits last night, too. He's had a nice month of May. 4 homers, 13 runs batted in this month. Paredes swings at that one, and he's down on strikes. That's strikeout number 3 for Shields.
One of those big outs, and with the changeup, you can get those strikeouts when you need them, sometimes at will. Some of the guys, Jimmy Paredes, the youngsters, just haven't seen a changeup like this, maybe even in their careers.
Good point. Yeah, they don't have any reference point, do they? They just have not seen one that good.
You've seen changeups, but then there are real changeups that come out of that ideal arm speed slot.
Trevor Crowe also facing Shields for the first time in his career. And the fastball works for strike 1 at 95. Crowe at 238 has a homer. He's driven in 2. A switch hitter. Former first-round draft choice. Trevor's had 21 at-bats. He says he has more raw power as a right-handed batter, but he's a better hitter from this left-handed side of the plate. Marwin Gonzalez is on deck. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Trevor Crowe, getting this opportunity in right field because Dominguez is resting and Paredes has moved to third base. Paredes has been playing right field, and that's been the mantra lately for Bo Porter. He wants to see the 3 outfielders get a lot of playing time, with Paredes in right, Robbie Grossman in center, and J.D. Martinez in left. But he'll break that up to give Dominguez a rest tonight. Crowe said it took him about 3 years in the minors after being drafted in the first round to break through to the major leagues, and that's a topic that you'll be hearing discussed quite a bit these next couple of weeks leading up to the draft. Foul that one. How quickly will some of these first rounders, will say, make it to the big leagues? What are the scouts' projections? Well, there's a lot of educated guesswork that goes into that, isn't there?
I think there's a lot of educated and sometimes even not so educated guesswork that goes in. You try to size a guy up and figure out how close is he right now to playing in the big league. Some guys obviously are much closer than others, but those guys sometimes work out and sometimes don't.
Ball back. Trevor said he thought, looking back on it now, having been a first-round pick, that maybe a first-rounder's biggest difficulty is looking at his numbers. Okay, I'm hitting such and such at AA. It's about time for me to move up to AAA, that kind of thing. Rather than just concentrate on getting better every day and don't worry so much about the numbers.
Probably a lot to that. But then again, I think that applies to all guys. You might be a mid-round pick and get off to a really nice start and start thinking, well, I'm ready to move on up. And maybe you're right.
Pop up, Kataris over for it. Moustakas comes over as well, and Kataris reaches out and snags it very casually for out number 2.
Yeah, I've always had a hard time with the comment that when a player's ready, and I just don't know exactly how this guy and that guy determines that point. I think it's awfully difficult. I think when a guy's playing really well, he may be ready, and he may be playing in AA.
Marwin Gonzalez is the batter. Marwin at 244 brings 3 homers and 10 runs batted into his stat line for this game. John Maley said Marwin's technique is much better this year because he was nursing an ankle injury last year and favoring that at the plate. And he said what happened was his ankle was hurting him so much, and it was the back leg hitting left-handed, that he would open up that foot instead of staying closed, so it wouldn't hurt him so much when he swung, and then that led to his head kind of lifting up and then dropping down. And any time a hitter's head is moving like that, it's usually big trouble. Shattered bat roller out to Getz, and it's out number 3. So the leadoff double on the ball lost in the lights does not turn into anything for the Astros. They lead it 2-0.
That's top of the 3rd. Astros up 2-0, and it's time to promote the Bayou Bash. Coming out to Minute Maid Park this Saturday, May 25th, for our annual Bayou Bash. It's presented by the Louisiana Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, with a special thanks to Budweiser. First pitch against the A's is at 6:10, but come out early for the live music, crawfish, and more. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get your tickets now. And I'm joined by Christy Miller with the Astros. You are a big part of Bayou Bash. This is an exciting event. Sounds like a lot of fun. What can fans expect when they come out to the park?
A lot of crawfish, which people get very excited about here in Houston. So we're always thrilled for the opportunity to bring it to the park for some added value for our fans. And Zydeco music, just a big Cajun experience. It's a lot of fun.
There's a triple by Jeff Francoeur. And let's get back to Christy. Ayla.
Well, thanks very much, Bill. And you say it's a lot of fun, and you said that the crawfish can be expected, a lot of Zydeco music. What kind of atmosphere is it just getting ready for the game?
It's a big summer fest. It's just like a street fest like we have on opening day. It's just a big party with crawfish, the music, like I said, and if you get out early, the first 1,000 people to enter the event space, which is the plaza on Crawford Street, they get this exclusive Bayou Bash mug. So everyone should come out early for that event.
And I understand that's the only big event this Memorial Day weekend. You guys are doing something else as well.
We are. The day before that, on Friday, we're hosting our second St. Arnold happy hour at our new St. Arnold bar in the atrium here. The gates and Union Station will actually open at 4 o'clock, and from 4 to 6:30, fans with a game ticket that day. It doesn't have to be a special ticket, can come in early, enjoy $5 beer specials on St. Arnold's as well as Budweiser and Ziegenbach products.
So the theme is celebrate. Thank you so much, Christy Miller. Sounds like a fun Memorial Day weekend. A lot of opportunities for fans. Guys, let's send it back upstairs.
Thanks, Layla. George Kataris, the batter. It's 2 balls, no strikes on him. The infield staying back except for Jimmy Paredes at third, but nobody out. And that's ball 3 for Jordan Lyles after the triple to Francoeur. Hit that, went deep to right center field. A long run for Robbie Grossman. That was hit number 2 allowed by Lyles. Now he's fallen behind 3-0 on Kataris. This Getz is on deck. 3-1. Now the word was they invited the Bash brothers. Jose Canseco, though, you mentioned he's involved with the Fort Worth Cats now, right?
He's got at least one day that he's going to be a player coach.
Line shot left center field. That'll get a run home, and extra bases again. Kataris heads for second as Robbie Grossman gets that one in. And it's back-to-back extra base hits for the Royals out of the chute. RBI number 4 for Kataris, scoring Francoeur, and that's his second double of the year to make it 2-1 now.
That kind of fell under the category of falling behind a major league hitter and then trying to battle back with a fastball, and Kataris just able to jump on it. Falling behind can be quite a culprit, and Jordan Lyles has been sharp here early on, but that leadoff triple by Francoeur kind of messed with things. And I don't know what that means. I was actually checking around down on the field today. What does this mean? And nobody seemed to know the answer.
No.
I didn't ask the right people, the Royals players.
Okay. This Getz lined out to Jordan Lyles, leading off the game. Around showing bunt, and it's in the dirt for ball 1. Getz is the emergency catcher for the Royals, and that usually does not come into play for a major league club. But with Salvador Perez sidelined the last couple days, the topic did come up, and Ned Yost was asked about what would happen if Chris Getz had to go behind the plate, and he said, we don't want to think about that. Getz showing butt, and he pulls it back, and then somebody asked Getz, well, what if you had to catch? And he said, I'm not sure how to put on the catching gear.
Somebody help me, please.
That's an emergency, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I've been around that situation so many times. Well, we've got this guy, but we don't want to think about it, about that possibility.
Nice to know all your bases are covered. 2 balls and a strike.
You would think you'd at least go through the drill of how to put the gear on.
Isn't it a requirement if you're going to be an emergency catcher? You must have caught a couple of bullpens somewhere along the line.
I would certainly think so. Man, this guy throws really hard.
Foul back by Getz. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
When I said yes, I can catch, I had no idea they threw this hard.
But Getz went a long time between homers. He homered April 16th against the Braves. That was his first one since July of 2009 as a member of the White Sox. So he ended what was the longest active drought in the majors at that time. He taps it to the right side. That'll advance the runner. Altuve over to Carter. And Getz moves Kataris to third on out number 1.
Quality out right there for the Royals. Let's get a piece and put it on the ground if you can.
For Escobar. Escobar hit a fly ball to center in the first. This is his 3rd year with Kansas City. He came from Milwaukee. And last year he set a club record with 177 hits for a shortstop. Infield is in now, trying to prevent the tying run from scoring, and that's into the seats for strike one. We were talking the other night about Freddie Patek, who was a fine shortstop. But Escobar set that club record for hits by somebody who plays that position for Kansas City.
Corbett just scared that kid. The kid thought, well, Corbett's coming to take the ball away from me.
That's really Matt Schaub in there.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Ground ball, one hop. Paredes checks the runner. Goes him out. You didn't know that. That's out number two.
Jimmy Paredes has played third base, second base around the minor leagues and does a nice job here as he gloves this high chop. Takes a glance toward the runner, and that holds him. This is the way Matt Dominguez would have done it, he says.
Now, a couple of years ago when Jimmy came up, he played a lot of third base. Now Doug Brocail's coming out. Gordon, the batter. Gordon is so hot right now. They're going to discuss this situation. Runner at third, 2 outs. Gordon single to center field his first time up.
Alex Gordon has Billy Butler behind him in the order as protection. Billy Butler doesn't really have anybody who's been swinging the bat awfully well behind him. And that's really made quite a difference. For me, Alex Gordon is the one guy I would say I'm not going to let beat me in a series.
And there you see why they're talking about it in this situation. 471 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. In tight for ball one on a cutter.
I think you get to some point with a guy like Gordon who's just so hot with the bat that you figure I'd say he's got to make an out at some point here.
That's true. This cannot continue through July, right? 2 balls, no strikes.
Or even through the week. I mean, gosh, you watch a guy in a series and it feels like every time Gordon swings the bat it's a base hit.
Good grief, he's not Miguel Cabrera, is he?
No, maybe he is the new Miggy.
Maybe he is. That's the beauty of it.
We should say that the Tigers already have mini Miggy, the center fielder Garcia. They call him Mini Miggy, although he's bigger than Miguel.
Well, Gordon is attracting plenty of attention, as is Cabrera this season, though. And the curveball accounts for ball 4, so he really didn't see anything to swing at. There's a little elbow action there. Got to keep things where he wants them with his arms and his hands.
The question about is as to whether that's like Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan used to flap that thing up against his side, and a little bit like that.
So now 2 men on, and here's Butler. That's the choice the Astros seem to have made. Deal with the right-handed hitter. Butler hit the ball sharply. He worked the count to 3-0 and hit a ground ball to shortstop. That turned into a force play, his first time up. But this would be a choice just about any team would make right now. Bangs it foul. There's strike one.
Billy Butler is a really good hitter, but he's not a hot hitter. Alex Gordon is really good and hot right now, and it's just a combination you have to stay away from.
Butler was an all-star last year. He won the Silver Slugger at DH. Won the Edgar Martinez Award as the top DH in the American League.
Yeah, it kind of came down to, do you like a guy who hits for average and kind of does everything well, or somebody who hits for a lot of home run power?
He does it all, doesn't he, with that high batting average?
He does. He can do it all. He's not the prototypical home run hitter, though he can hit the home run. But yeah, it's kind of reflecting through some of the guys maybe in the American League in that regard. Edward Encarnacion, I believe, hit about 40 bombs last year.
That's right. Big Poppy. 1-2. Well, Butler became the first Royal to lead the club 4 straight years in runs batted in. Going back to 09, he had 93, then 78, then 95, then last year 107.
29 home runs to go with the 107 last year. Very impressive numbers and a .313 batting average. Well, that's, you start talking about somebody who maybe someday could contend for the Triple Crown.
Stopped by Castro, 2-2. Yeah.
But when you're talking about in a league where Miguel Cabrera continues to play, I don't know. I don't even think that's in the ballpark.
Well, here you have Gordon, who didn't see anything to hit, so he took the 4-pitch walk. But Butler is not chopped liver.
Some people really like chopped liver, by the way.
Do they?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Have you ever met anybody who did? Oh no. Twitter's going crazy now. Foul back.
Are we talking chopped liver now on the
Yes, we are.
Twitter sphere? Well, we were talking about Miguel Cabrera. Yeah, look at these numbers now. Hitting .384 to lead the league. 12 dingers because he's gotten hot lately. People were saying he wasn't hitting enough home runs. 49 ribbies to lead. Oh, he's just kind of off at it again, isn't he?
Wow.
And he laughs when he makes outs.
He's on another planet. Broken bat, it goes foul, and the bat goes flying past Jimmy Paredes into left field.
It's a unique ability to keep the broken end of the bat fair.
Miguel Cabrera hit a 2-run homer Tuesday night. That gave him 21 runs batted in the month of May. Here's the broken bat. It's the 9th consecutive full calendar month in which Cabrera has knocked in at least 20 runs. Last player to do that was David Ortiz in 05 and 06. 9 straight months of at least 20 runs batted in.
Miguel Cabrera has just kind of become the man. Everybody knew for years that he was a great hitter, but he's kind of gone beyond just a great hitter. He is the guy.
Well, this is a tough guy to finish off here. Lyles keeps making pitches. Butler keeps fouling them. Lyles broke his bat. Count is still 2-2.
Gordon Lyles has had some tough at-bats here with Royals hitters early in the ballgame, and yet Jordan Lyles has done a really nice job staying at these guys.
Update from Detroit. Miguel Cabrera, RBI double in the first.
Kept it in the ballpark, huh?
Another foul ball. And this is the issue here. It is a slam dunk not to give Gordon anything to hit. That's fine. I don't think you get any argument from anybody on what the Astros have done here. But getting Butler out, that's the other part of the equation.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what Gordon has going for him in the order. Billy Butler is kind of on an island a bit. The Royals have had some disappointing seasons to this point, and Eric Hosmer is not a bad hitter by any means, but it's not the same backup scenario that Gordon has.
Butler hit that one with his left thumb.
He's had a couple of swings here in this at bat that, you know, he's dealt with pitches away, and then here comes the one in on the hands, and he cuts it off and almost gets hit on the hands. Of course, we've seen that take place this week.
Who's he trying to be? Ryan Vogelsong?
Yeah, man, that was one of the better hacks of the week in Major League Baseball, and he took it right on the hand.
Gosh. This count has stayed 2-2. There have been, 10 pitches in this sequence now. 56 in the game. And the throw goes over to first.
Yeah, that one with Vogelsong, I couldn't help but think as I watched the replay that the scenario of, okay, here comes a hammer to hit your hand, and now why don't you go ahead and thrust your hand toward the hammer coming at you as fast as you can. That's what Vogelsong wound up doing.
Very painful at bat. In the air, but not playable for anybody except the fan. And somebody played it well.
Yeah. One-handed effort down there. They could play this game. Very nice. Forgot my glove, but I'll just make it like this.
that Billy Doran?
Don't ever let anybody see you sweat, though.
Still 2-2.
You look a bit like Billy.
A little bit. Billy had that boyish look.
Could play this game.
Swing and a miss and a pitch in the dirt. And that is a huge out in this game early for Jordan Lyles, striking out Butler after a long battle. It's 1 run, 2 hits, 2 men left as Jordan Lyles keeps the Astros in the lead 2-1.
Sportsnet, Astros leading the Royals in the bottom of the third inning by a score of 2-1. And the Astros have committed to their leadoff hitter, Robbie Grossman, ever since he has been called up from AAA Oklahoma City. And the team says he continues to improve. In fact, Bill Porter told me today before the game he has been completely impressed with his at-bats and how he has been putting them together, and for good reason. Grossman is 6th in baseball in his chase percentage, and that's in a good way. In fact, if you take a look at the numbers, guys, from how he's hitting from the left side of the plate, doesn't take a lot of pitches. If a pitcher paints the corners, he's pretty much going to be out of luck if he wants to get Grossman, if you take a look at that breakdown.
Thanks, Layla. Now Grossman slaps one by the third baseman, Moustakas, up the left field line. Heads for second base. Gordon gets it back in, and he'll do an about face and get back to first. Well played by Gordon on the opposite field single by Grossman. Jumping on that first pitch from Shields here, opening the home third.
If Robbie Grossman could keep more balls on the ground and on the line and stay away from the fly ball, he's got a chance of really being an effective leadoff hitter. Being able to swing from both sides, more effective to this point from the right side. But stay away from the little fly balls because he doesn't have that home run power.
That's hit number 4 for the Astros, who lead it 2-1. Grossman aboard for Jose Altuve. Altuve trying to snap an 0 for 14 now. Grossman gives him a hole on the right side. And a quick throw to first by Shields. George Kataris has thrown out 2 of 7 attempted base stealers. We welcome a new Astros fan born last night, Joshua Michael Fry of Tallahassee, Florida. He arrived at 7-18, and the Astros were leading at that time. Strike to Altuve. Parents are Lisa and Eric Fry. It's their second child. Congratulations. Jason Castro on deck. The throw goes over.
Boy, that's a quick release. Get that foot off the rubber quickly and let it fly.
Last year there were 14 steals in only 16 attempts. Shields has picked off 25. So the running game is not much of a factor when big game James is on the mound. That's a strike, and it's 0-2 quickly to Altuve. Back in 2011, Shields led the American League in complete games with 11, and he had 4 shutouts. That also led the league. He pitched shutout ball in winning a World Series game in 08 for Tampa Bay. Newhall, California. Bouncer in the hole. Here's Escobar getting it to second for 1 and gets with a marvelous turn for a twin killing. 6-4-3. That was extremely well played by both guys.
We saw Elliott Johnson at second base for the Royals earlier in this series make a real nice turn and a strong arm, but you bet Getz did this nicely. I didn't think they would have a chance at the double play on this 2-hopper to the right of the shortstop, but they get it rather handily. Pretty good shortstop right there. Alcides Escobar can really throw from shortstop.
And Jason Castro got a looping single to center field in the first, rode home on the 2-run homer by J.D. Martinez. Fouls that one for strike 1. Cole Porter was asked about Bud Norris and his back problem, which led him to go out of the game last night after 6 innings. He's not concerned about Bud missing a start. He said with the off day tomorrow, he'll have an extra day before his next start. Back was a little bit tight today for Bud, we understand. And that's what forced him from the game last night. The Astros, during the home 6th inning, took a while as they had 3 base runners in that inning. That inning took a while to develop. So Bud was trying to stretch out his back during that frame with the trainers. And it just didn't get stretched out as he went back out for the 7th. That's when he was removed from the game.
Sure was good for 6 innings. And it's not the first time by any means for Bud, and he continues to shave away at the ERA while pitching at home. He has been phenomenal in this ballpark.
1.93 is his home ERA. Second lowest home ERA in the majors, with last year and this year included. Only Clayton Kershaw 1.74 is better than Bud's 1.78 for last year and this year combined. 1-2 to Castro. He rocks one to center field. Lorenzo Cain back all the way to the warning track in left center for the catch, and it's no runs a hit. And after 3, it's 2-1 Houston. Four to 3 as well. Our Geico quote of the day comes from Reed Ryan, and it concerns Larry Durker. Larry is a huge part of our history. We're excited that he is back in the organization, and we know fans will be as well. Larry spent just about 50 years in this organization. coming up in the big leagues as a teenage pitcher.
Pretty fair teenage pitcher right there.
Boy, know that.
And he hit the scene and became a star right away.
Lowell passed there on the field after Larry's no-hitter against the Montreal Expos.
Did they get him off the field quickly?
I don't know, but that was a special night. And Larry tells the story. No, remember the former nights in the Dome, Ash?
Former nights in the Dome.
Yeah, the former nights for beer. And if the light was on a certain place in the scoreboard and an Astro hitter hit a homer, then everybody got free beer.
You couldn't hit a home run in that ballpark, so that was a given.
But they changed it to strikeouts by the pitchers then because of that. Nobody was hitting homers. There's a shot. Paredes knocks it down, scrambles, fires. Good recovery to get Hosmer.
Nice.
And we go to Leila Rahimi.
Well, it's funny because you guys bring up the quote of the game when talking about Reed Ryan and Larry Dierker. That wasn't the only good quote Reed actually had when he was discussing Mr. Dierker. One of the other ones was, "The wise man seeks the counsel of many." That was one of the quotes he gave to us in the press yesterday when he was talking about bringing Dierker back on. So at least Reed knows a quote or two, and he does indeed seek the counsel of many, as we've seen.
Yes, that's impressive. Lorenzo Cain comes up. He struck out in the second. Well, Larry Dierker was pitching, and it was Fulmer night when he was pitching his no-hitter against Montreal. So he struck out the hitter when the light was on the scoreboard, and everybody went up to get in line for free beer. And then he said what they would do is they'd work their way to the front of the line and drink their beer while they went to the back of the line and work their way back up for another beer. And so he thought about half the fans missed his no-hitter. Well, he wound up third on the all-time win list with 137.
Yeah, there was an arm, Larry Dierker's, that had it stayed healthy for the remainder of his career, boy, there's just no telling numbers-wise what he might have done.
Well, can you see anybody pitching 300 innings in a season for the Astros anytime soon?
I don't think that's going to happen in this game for a long, long time to come.
Well, he'll stand alone on that one for a while.
But then you saw the likes of Nolan Ryan and Sandy Koufax and Bob Gibson and Don Drysdale throwing 300-plus innings, and I don't know, did it do them in?
Fair question.
I wonder how Larry feels about that, and I think I know the answer, because he felt that as a manager that the starting pitchers should go 7, 8, and 9 innings every time they ran out there.
Right.
He did not feel it was a contributor to problems, at least in everything that I heard.
He'll chop up the first base line. Lyles comes over. Fair ball. He tosses to Carter. As he crossed over into foul territory, he took care of out number 2.
Nice coordination, a little ballet going on here. Jordan Lyles gets on this and grabs it before it can go foul very wisely. And now just has to complete the ballet there. Turned it very easily.
It really was a ballet. He crosses in front of the runner, now over to his right, tossing back to his left. And Carter has crossed over at that point into foul territory himself. 2 outs, and it's Mike Moustakas batting. Moustakas, as that one sails off the mid of Castro for ball 1, popped up to short his first time up. He had the game-tying single last night in the 8th inning. Prior to that at bat, Moustakas was hitless in his previous 26 at bats with men in scoring position, and that was his second longest hitless streak with men in scoring position in one season in Royals history. You'll probably never guess the only one longer. It was Kirk Gibson, 1991. He was 0 for 27 with runners in scoring position.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Bet he doesn't tell his troops that in Arizona.
No. Ground ball foul. Makes it 1-2. You know, as you were discussing Jordan Lyles, and you noted the use of the changeup, and that could really be a turning point for Jordan. I remember that game here against Texas. That was his last home start, Ash, on the 12th of May. And he gave up 11 hits and 8 earned runs in 4 innings. And the Rangers were just teeing off.
Yes. That was a very loud night here at the ballpark.
Boy. Ground ball to first, Carter. Well, the sounds are not quite the same. tonight.
I agree entirely with you.
And it's 2-1 Astros.
City 2-1 on Comcast Sportsnet, and we've seen where JD Martinez picked up where he left off last night. Martinez was 2 for 3 last night, and he had a home run in his first appearance at the plate tonight. And Martinez says he feels like he's swinging the bat with more confidence. He says he's not swinging at as many balls, and he called his approach right now, guys, a controlled aggressiveness. And I think anytime you have a term for your approach and it's working, probably should stick with it, eh?
You can call it anything you want to call it if you hit like that.
I made the comment that I thought that home run he hit, that monster bomb in Detroit, might lead to that type of confidence. For me, when you gain that confidence where you just feel like you're going to succeed, that's where it starts to happen. And it feels to me like JD has kind of picked up from that home run.
That's ball one. Our producer Carl Patterson did some research on JD. When he came back from the minor league rehab assignment from his injury, 1 ball, 1 strike, he struck out 8 times in his first 14 appearances when he returned. Since then, he has struck out 3 times in 26 at bats. And it's not only limiting the strikeouts, it's hitting balls hard. 1-2.
Guys, one of the things he told us too is he said, I need to focus on what I'm doing, not what the pitcher's doing. I need to go up there hungry, and then that way I'll know I need to take it. And that kind of speaks to the aggressiveness that he was talking about.
Okay. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, there are varying philosophies. There are some who will say you need to study everything that pitcher does during the course of the ball game, know what the tendencies are. And then there are others, and many great hitters among those, who just go with their confidence and do their own thing, and it tends to work out quite well.
Well, in fact, JD addressed that topic maybe about a week ago or so. He said, I'm not going to study as much tape now. I'm just going to try to trust my instincts in the batter's box.
I honestly think you can kind of drive yourself crazy.
Still 3-2. Oh, yeah, you can come out of there cleary-eyed and studying a lot of tape.
You can know what's coming sometimes and can't do a thing with it if you're not swinging freely and swinging the way you do when you're on your game.
Ripped into the left field car. He hammered that one. Now he's hustling around first, headed for second. Here's Gordon with the throw, and the throw is there, and he's out. That's outfield assist number 5 for Alex Gordon. And it's a single for JD Martinez. He hit it very well, but that meant that Gordon got there and got it in quickly.
Well, that pitch by pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers. And we'll take a look at this at bat by JD Martinez as he takes the big hanger and then offers on the running fastball. The changeup gets him in front. And now with 2 strikes, he really becomes a hitter. Able to lay off the off-speed pitches. Foul one on the hands. And then when he gets another one on the hands, he's ready. Hangs it out. But Alex Gordon can play some left field.
That's a great throw from Gordon. Barehanded the ball to get it a little bit quicker. And the accurate throw. 5 outfield assists already for him.
Can't fault JD for trying to get a 2-bagger to start the inning.
No.
But that throw was just perfect from a Gold Glove left fielder.
He's won 2 in a row now. Carter with a 1-1 pitch. He goes up the middle and singles to center field. Making Gordon's play even bigger as the Astros get hit number 5, number 6 in the game. Carter's 1 for 2 now. Gordon had 20 outfield assists in 2011, 17 last year, and 5 already this year. The Royals outfielders have combined for 13 outfield assists. Now Carlos Pena, he hit the line drive, and right fielder Jeff Francoeur couldn't pick it out of the light, so it went for a double. The Royals have the longest postseason drought of any of the 30 major league clubs. 1985. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. That's been a drought. Well, Brett Saberhagen was something back in those days, wasn't he, Ash?
Great right-hander in that key part of that Kansas City rotation.
He had a terrific changeup.
We go through the years, guys who have mastered the change to go along with being able to spot the fastball. Obviously, you've got to be able to have the mix between the two, but a lot of those guys tended to be the guys who had great success as pitchers.
Well, we saw Wade Davis use this type of motion going into the stretch, and that's the same thing for Shields. So 7 500 seasons since '85, the last 2003. Since they moved to the AL Central in '94, they finished second or higher once. 10 seasons of 90 losses or more since '01. And they're going for it with Shields and company. Shields and Davis, Irvin Santana. Strong arm bullpen right now, but their offense still waiting to come around. 2-0 to Pena. Shields has gone at least 6 innings in 23 games in a row now. It's 2-1.
A hanging changeup up in the zone and still so tough to get to. Doesn't miss up there very often. You see this change up around the belt, and yet Carlos Pena out in front. You swing at that arm speed, you see.
He takes it. It's a ball, and it's 3-1 to Carlos. Shields had not thrown ball 1 to begin a sequence to any of the Astros hitters in the first 3 innings. He lost 2-1 last time out on 2 solo homers. 3-2. He had a 1-0 lead until the 7th, and then Josh Donaldson, the Oakland third baseman, hit one, and Adam Rosales hit another one to beat him 2-1. By inning, he is very tough when it gets late.
Gets stronger as it goes, huh?
That is amazing. Pena strikes out.
A little cutter it looked like on the 3-2. Here's a pitch you don't see much, but just a little cutting action. You can see that glove of Kataris moving toward Pena.
4 strikeouts now for Shields. Paredes struck out in the 2nd inning. An 8-game homestand for the Astros. Oakland in this weekend. Eric Bedard gets it started in that series Friday night at 7:10 against Tommy Malone. The matchup of lefties. Paredes looks at it. It's ball one to Jimmy. Saturday night at 6:10, it's Lucas Harrell and A.J. Griffin. Sunday at 1:10, Dallas Keuchel squares off against Bartolo Colon. The Oakland A's have scored 45 runs in 6 games against Astros pitching this year. 1-1.
Yeah, they just scorched earth when they were facing the Astros early on. And they were leading the major leagues in runs scored at that time. They've tailed off considerably.
Well, they outscored the Astros in those sweeps. One at Houston, one at Oakland. 45-19. Gets to his right with the toss. And Escobar's there to receive it. And it's no runs, 2 hits, and a man left for the Astros after 4, 2-1 Houston.
Homestand this Friday against the Oakland A's for a weekend series. Then Monday and Tuesday, the Colorado Rockies come to town for a quick 2-game series. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets now.
This Wednesday night crowd has watched the Astros get a 2-run first-inning homer from J.D. Martinez for a 2-0 lead. And then the Royals come back in the third with back-to-back extra base hits from Jeff Francoeur, a triple. George Kataris a double to score their run. Now Francoeur leads it off here in the 5th. Strike one to Frenchie. Very popular player down through the years, especially when he came up with Atlanta. Boy, he was a fan favorite. He lunged at that off-speed pitch, 0-2. He's been a very aggressive hitter down through the years, seldom walks. 266 lifetime batting average coming into this season for Jeff Francoeur, who's 29 now. He was a first-round pick of the Braves in 2002. Moved along to the Mets, then Texas. The Royals signed him as a free agent. And he's been a part-time player this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's back in the lineup a little bit more recently now because of an injury to Gerard Dyson, who was playing some center field with Lorenzo Cain moving to right. Tap foul. Still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Francoeur told some writers that he lost 5% of his body fat since last season. Switched to a bat with a bigger barrel after an off season last year in which he hit .235 and drove in just 49 runs. Spent time in the batting cage.
He is quite slender.
Yeah, he's really thin. He worked out in Georgia in the batting cage over the winter. Swings at that one and he's down on strikes. That's number 3 for Jordan Lyles.
Good over the top curveball to pick up the strikeout.
Lyles is probably showing more variety than we've seen him.
It does look that way. Yeah, you're seeing this curveball. You also saw right there the backswing from Francoeur hit right on the top of the helmet of Jason Castro. Okay, well, I'll tag you out for that then.
Right. Those are fun. Now George Katar is the batter. That RBI double, swinging on the 3-1 pitch back in the third inning. Strike one to him. George is a native of Canada. He played for Greece in the 2004 Olympics.
Yeah, I really like the repertoire right now of Jordan Lyles. I think he looks like a guy who can compete very well with major league hitters on any club.
Wouldn't that be a real breakthrough for the Astros? Fly ball to left center field. Grossman is there, but he yields to Martinez, who's also there, 2 outs. Now Jordan, as you know, in the past could be sailing along in a game, and then it comes to about the 5th or 6th inning, usually the 3rd time through the order. And the pattern in some of those games would be still throwing maybe low 90s, 92, 93, but starting to elevate a little bit and getting in trouble. Maybe more of a variety would prevent that.
Yeah, we just saw the numbers from James Shields, and obviously he's a veteran. He's been through it. He's had great success. Why is it that a guy like James Shields, who doesn't have better velocity than Jordan Lyles, is able to have his numbers get better and better the deeper he gets into a ball game? And I think as a young pitcher, that's what you want to look at and try to figure out, what can I do to be like that guy? Stuff is comparable.
Line shot over Paredes into left field. Very sharply hit. And Getz is aboard. Well, he lined back to Lyles to open the game. This liner gives him a hit, and he's 1 for 3.
Yeah, put it out over the plate. What are you supposed to do? Hit it the other way, but it's doing it very nicely right on the barrel.
And he got over Jimmy very quickly. 2-out single brings up Escobar now. That's 4 hits for the Royals. Escobar's fly to center and grounded to third. Pittsburgh is leading the Cubs 1-0 there in the top of the 7th at Pittsburgh. Goes back to first. There's ball 1 on the pitch out.
Pitch out that wasn't very far off the plate.
No.
Had Alcides Escobar decided he wanted to swing at this pitch, he could have easily made some contact.
Justin Verlander in Detroit have a 9-5 lead at Cleveland. They're in a rain delay now in the bottom of the 5th inning, though. Big cut there, makes it 1-1 to Escobar.
You can hang that curveball sometimes and still have success when you're mixing in all these other pitches.
Yeah.
That's the kind of curveball that you'll see some guys launch. But again, you pick up that swing and a miss here and just keep mixing pitches.
And the throw goes over to first on Getz. It's the Angels 7, Seattle 1. They're in the bottom of the 8th at Anaheim. Phillies are shutting out Miami 3-0 in the top of the 9th at Miami. That's Cliff Lee's ball game tonight. He went into pinch run the other day. Did you see what happened?
Yes, he got picked off like so often happens when a pitcher does get that chance to pinch run. I've seen guys get those opportunities to pinch run and something will go wrong and they'll get a chance to pinch hit, and you just never know what's going to happen when you dip into that pitching zone.
You could bring up the old Joaquin Andujar quote.
Yeah, let's. You're looking for his quotes, huh? He's got a few.
Bouncer into right field, a single there.
You never know that one word that sums up everything.
That's it.
So what was the quote you're going after?
Same one. That's the only one anybody remembers from Joaquin. Two men on now with 2 outs, and it's Gordon batting. Gordon has a single and a walk. And unlike last time when he came up there with 2 outs and a runner at third base, the Astros chose not to give him anything to hit. That would be very difficult to do here. They could do it. They have a base open, and that base is third. But most teams don't in a situation like this. Got him on a check swing back to Lyles. And that ends the top of the 5th with no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. The Astros lead it 2-1.
Of the 5th, Astros leading the Royals 2-1, and you never know what you might win, but here's how you can try. Just watch Sportsnet Central every night in May at 10 o'clock or after the game to learn our word of the night. Then log on to csnhouston.com for a chance to win cash, prizes, and more. Play Words on CSN every night in May. Let's send it back upstairs.
Okay, Layla, go ahead and give us the words now.
That would be cheating. The words are don't cheat on Words on CSN.
Trevor Crowe leads it off, bottom of the 5th inning, 2-1 Astros. In tied, ball 1.
You guys always play by the rules, don't you?
Those prizes are very much to be desired. So it helps to know your words. Trevor Crowe fouled out to the catcher back in the 2nd inning. It's a 2-ball, no strike count for James Shields, who fell behind a couple of guys in the last inning. And now another one as Crowe tries to get something going in the Houston 5th with no walks, 4 strikeouts for Shields, but he's given up 6 hits. This fly ball hits for right center field. Kane legs it back. 1 out. Marwin Gonzalez will follow. Marwin grounded out in the 2nd inning. Washington beat the Giants today in the 10th, 2-1. Tyler Clippard won that one. Save number 13 for Rafael Soriano. Toronto got a win 4-3 in 10 over Tampa Bay in Toronto. Colorado down to Arizona at Coors Field 4-1. Jorge De La Rosa winning his 6th. Marwin looks at it. It's strike 1 to Gonzalez. Dodgers are trying to bounce back. They down Milwaukee again 9-2.
What's happened with those Brewers?
They're 18-27. Pitching is really not very good. 1 ball, 1 strike. They did have to enjoy beating Zach Greinke.
Story that Don Mattingly, the manager of the Dodgers, criticized his ball club before the game.
Oh, really? 2 balls and a strike.
Sharply critical of his slumping team.
Well, Matt Kemp hasn't gotten it going yet this year. Andre Ethier, subpar, and so on down the line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Josh Beckett is on the disabled list, but was not pitching well. They've had injuries.
In fact, Don Mattingly benched Andre Ethier. That's the term used here in the story, but probably just gave him a day off.
Ethier blew his cork about something the other night. He was yelling. He got back to the dugout. There was a pitch over his head, and he might have been upset about that. Wanted a warning or something along those lines. Swing and a miss by Marwin, and Gonzalez is strikeout victim number 5 of Shields.
Join us this Friday, May 24th, for the next big and bright Friday night. The Astros take on the Oakland A's at 7:10. 10,000 fans will receive an Astros koozie. That's courtesy of Budweiser. Then stay for the postgame fireworks show. That's presented by Marathon Oil. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets right now.
Well, in just about 48 hours, we'll get one of those. And it'll be Eric Bedard and Tommy Malone for this big and bright Friday, May 24th at 7:10. Robbie Grossman fouls it back. There's strike 1 to Robbie. He singled inside third base back in the 3rd inning and was erased on a double play. He's 1 for 2. Texas down to Oakland today in Arlington 3-1. Ross Wolf was the winner, beating Gerard Parker. And Joe Nathan got his 14th save. 1-1. That Oakland staff has been putting together some very good starts lately. The 3rd time through the order, opponents are hitting .159 against James Shields. And this is the 3rd time through for him.
So I guess you try to get your runs early against him. That's what the Astros have done tonight. But you got to keep tacking on. Either that or have your starting pitcher pitch a brilliant game, and Jordan Lyles is doing that.
And Shields has been having a few 1st inning problems this year. He gave up 2 in the 1st tonight on the homer. High ball out of play, 1 and 2. But nonetheless, it's hard to be too critical of somebody with a 2.45 ERA, 6th best in the American League.
I don't think you can be critical at all about James Shields. And I think that the Kansas City ball club, they'll tell you that he's pitched his tail off. They just haven't provided.
It's 2-2 to Robbie Grossman.
See that effort on the changeup, almost a bigger windup, almost a faster delivery, just creating that deception that he creates so well.
Does a hitter have to buy into that, or does he think it's an act?
Well, I think there are some guys that you can actually kind of read that act on. And then there are others, and I'm sure Shields falls in this category. He'll give you fastball and curveball out of that same deceptive motion.
That's strikeout number 6, and through 5, it's 2-1 Houston.
on Comcast Sportsnet. Astros leading the Royals 2-1, and our AT&T tweet of the game comes to you from last night's starter, Bud Norris. At Bud Norris 20 tweeted, "Tough loss tonight. We will not hold our heads, and we will have a chance to win the series tomorrow." And you guys mentioned this earlier, Bill and Alan, but Bud not expected to miss another start. He did leave with that tightness in his back, but he said it's something where he's just got to go through the process. Said he felt it tighten up in the bottom half of the sixth last night. It was a longer inning where he sat on the bench, and he hopes that he will be back and ready for his next start.
Thanks, Layla. 2-1. Jordan Lyles with the lead. Billy Butler takes, and there's strike one, and Butler is 0 for 2.
As a starting pitcher, though, you're supposed to like those long innings that your team provides. Those are where you get the runs.
Well, you just hope that that back problem does not linger, of course, and that can be the case sometimes.
Well, I loved what we saw from Bud Norris again last night. I love what we're seeing from Jordan Lyles tonight. Terrific outing by Lucas Harrell, his last start in Pittsburgh.
We sense a trend here.
Seems to be. There's a nice little slider from Lyles.
Yes.
He's mixed in all the pitches well.
Doug Brocail picks up the phone. 85 pitches have been thrown by Lyles. That was very good. Bouncer out to Altuve's right. Plenty of time here to get Butler. The last 5 games, the Astros starting pitchers have combined for a 2.35 ERA. Lyles, Bedard, Harrell, Keuchel, and Norris. That kind of a trend would certainly be welcome.
Yeah, forgive me for not mentioning Bedard, as he went 6 innings for the first time this year, and real solid outing. And Dallas Keuchel, though he allowed 4 runs in this one, I thought it was quality. It was good work going into the 7th.
Eric Hosmer bats. He's 0 for 2. Bouncer. Lyles spears it. 1 pitch out.
Jordan plays with that glove a little bit on the hill.
Good athlete. Travis Blackley is getting loose.
Log on to csnhouston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via your computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on csnhouston.com.
A Dodger win we told you about, 9-2 in Milwaukee, gives them a 6-13 record in May. They need to go 5-4 to avoid their worst May in franchise history. Kane takes a look at it. It's strike one.
Velocity not dipping off here for Jordan as he works into this 6th inning. 93 on that fastball.
It's no balls, 2 strikes on free swinging Kane. Blackley in the bullpen. Cincinnati beat the Mets 7-4 Reds. Aroldis Chapman got his 10th save. Did you see that story about Chapman and what he ate Sunday before the game when he gave up the back-to-back homers?
At the sweets, I know that it was something involving sweets, and I think he had like 20 donuts or something. I don't know what it was.
According to the report, he ate 18 pastries before the game on Sunday. And then he gave up back-to-back homers.
Well, the question is, what kind of pastries? Now, some would be very acceptable, in my opinion.
They were Cuban pastries.
Yeah, that's probably not good to go load up on the pastries before your outing. Unless you bring it 101 or something like that after loading up.
I don't care what you're doing. If you're pitching, I don't care what it is. If you eat 18 pastries, there's a pretty good chance something bad's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, apparently he was kind of hungry.
But he's thin.
Yeah, he is that. Charlie Kerfeld, you mentioned him earlier, had that big year. He tended to eat a little bit before, during, and after ball games.
Well, they caught him on camera in the bullpen.
In New York at Shea.
New York eating ribs.
With the load of ribs out there. Yeah, that went over well.
During a game.
Oh, Charlie.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
The thing about Charlie, though, is he could break out some fried chicken out of his coat pocket while you're traveling with the team. Charlie, you hungry? And he just breakout out of this pocket or that.
I'd love to be his cleaner. Ground ball on through past the diving shortstop Gonzalez for a 2-out single by Kane.
And if you're thinking, well, was he ashamed? Was he embarrassed at getting caught at those moments? He's darn proud of it. Chicken on call.
Yes, Mr. Kerfeld, would you like your fried chicken steam pressed? Mike Moustakas is 0 for 2. What a character. Great guy. We haven't seen him yet this year.
Well, generally we see him running around somewhere or another on the road.
He must be in the National League.
He's a Phillies guy now.
He's a Philly.
Yep.
They must be in the National League.
How about that?
Lyles with a quick move over.
Yeah, when you see Charlie, usually there's some kind of something that might be coming along happening for the Phillies.
Yeah. Well, he was the guy who came in before the Roy Oswalt trade. Just to make sure Roy had 2 arms and 2 legs before they okayed the deal.
That's kind of what it comes down to sometimes.
He saw that last start before the trade, and that's what he was joking about. There's ball 1. He said, I'm here to make sure he can walk off the mound tonight.
When taken out of the ball game, can he get off the field on his own accord?
97 pitches now for Lyles. 2 outs into the 6th inning. It's 2-0, and on top of Bud Norris's 6 shutout innings to start the game last night, the Astros continue to get some very strong performances from their starters. Unfortunately for Houston, that 3-0 lead after 6 went the other way, and they lost it 7-3 last night.
Doug Brocail is watching intently as Jordan Lyles struggles a bit here in the 6th inning. Just saw what I thought was a glance from Jordan Lyles toward that first base dugout. Be careful about glancing over there.
This is his 5th start with the Astros this year. That's the first time he has gotten an out beyond the 5th inning. It's 3 balls, no strikes.
He's kept his composure very well. Looks like he's totally in control of himself this evening.
He brought an 8-21 major league record into this game, a 5.31 ERA up against James Shields, one of the top pitchers in the game, and he has done a superb job. He's in for a strike to make it 3-1 now to Moustakas. Got Frank Coors on deck. There it goes. And the throw from Castro is there. The tag is there also for a caught stealing. As Castro guns down Kane. That's the 7th runner he's thrown out this season. That ends the top of the 6th inning. The Astros leading it 2-1. by After Earth in theaters May 31st. And the Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax. Good ball game tonight here at Minute Maid Park. It's 2-1. The Astros are leading the Royals. The deciding game of this 3-game series has been intriguing so far. It's been Jordan Lyles dueling James Shields. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Altuve, Castro, and Martinez 2 up against Shields. Shields gave up 2 in the first. He had 2 outs. He had a 1-2 count on Jason Castro, who looped a single to center, and then Martinez hit a 2-run homer to right. And now a drive to center by Altuve, but unable to break that hitless string, and it's out number 1. Well, Altuve is mired in a mini slump. He is 0 for his last 16. Castro, the ball he didn't hit well was a hit. The ball he did hit well was an out. A warning track in center field in the 3rd inning.
How about that throw by Jason Castro? Part of the strike him out, throw him out double play.
He had it there in plenty of time to get Kane.
Beautifully done.
That's close, but he looks at it for ball 1. On the Houston bench, there is Jordan Lyles. His strongest start of the year. That's into right field for a hit. Castro's 2 for 3 tonight.
MLB TV celebrates 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere.
JD Martinez has a homer to right and a single to left. He was thrown out trying to stretch it to a double. Both balls hit very hard tonight. This one goes foul, strike 1. JD is going off on a tear right now. He hit .333 on the road trip. And now with 2 hits tonight. He has 4 hits and 9 at-bats in his homestand so far. It back. It's no balls, 2 strikes. So his last 9 games, including 2 at-bats of this one, he has gone 10 for 27.
Yeah, it's not just 10 little measly singles either. It's hanging out some shots and driving the ball out of the ballpark. Nice to see.
A series win over Kansas City would be a very nice way to start this homestand for the Astros. They've beaten Seattle twice in series, and the other of the 3 series wins over the Angels. That's a bouncer over to Hosmer, who picks it clean. A pickoff throw by Shields. Insurance runs would certainly be helpful. Kansas City has a good bullpen. Shields is looking strong here, having allowed both runs in the 1st inning. The Astros bullpen had a rough time last night, giving up 7 runs in the last 3 innings, and a Kansas City 7-3 win. All 4 relievers allowed runs in the game. Now ball goes foul. Astros still 0-2. Misses there. It's a 1-ball 2-strike count for James. Being the opening day starter for Kansas City, he has been paired with some of the top arms in the game, of course, this season, opposing number 1s. He's faced a former All-Star 7 times in his first 9 assignments. Steams that throw over to first. He has faced a pair of Cy Young Award winners, Chris Sale twice, Cole Hamels. He's faced R.A. Dickey, Clay Buchholz, Justin Verlander, and Andy Pettit this year.
So you want to pitch opening day, huh?
Yeah. Runner goes and it's foul. Still a 1-2 count with Castro headed back to first.
Sometimes that really does line up that way for guys, and that can lead to a tough season. Other times it doesn't tend to match up that way at all. I actually charted a year. Roy Halladay, a handful of years back, had, I believe, 33 starts, 7 of which, if I'm recalling right, might have been 6, were against opening day starters. And it just got completely off course the rest of the time.
2-2. Interesting. Ed Yost, right-hander, has had an economy of pitches. He's thrown 85, 60 of it strikes.
And that appears to be a rather intense man.
Yeah. Going up around the shoulders of J.D. Martinez. It got away from Shields, and it's 3-2 now. Wonder if the runner will go here.
That's a total launch job on the curveball. You don't have speed in Jason Castro at first, but I think you do have that element of just trying to make something happen.
Right. Try to get him to third base. He was back in on that one. And that would be, you're right, the reason for sending him. Not that you think he could steal a base if the hitter swings and misses, but you're planning on contact from a guy who's made solid contact twice already tonight. And trying to find a way to get Castro to third with 1 out, and sending him might be the way to do it. He's going, and it's foul back.
Let's take a look at that most recent pickoff move to first base, and not so certain that Castro got back in. Would say he got picked. It's that very quick pickoff move that's produced many a pickoff through the years for James Shields.
Ron Hirschbeck is the first base umpire. Castro not going this time, and it's foul back. So I think he's going again this next time.
Okay, Skip. I haven't even detected how you give those signs either.
No. This will be the 10th pitch to J.D. Martinez. Bo Porter's club has 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors. It's 1-6-0 for Oakland, for Kansas City rather. Oakland coming in next. Runner going. Fly ball center field. Way back in center. Here's Kane. Kane turns and makes the catch on the warning track. Retagging second. Here's Castro back to first on a deep drive for out number 2.
Well, that ball's hit well, and what a nice job by Kane as he turned his back to home plate. He just took off sprinting at one point. And you hear about these guys that can turn and find the spot perfectly. He does that. Well, that's a J.D. Martinez right now who's putting the barrel on the ball very well.
Yes, he is. Yeah, it's 2 outs, and it's Chris Carter batting. Carter's 1 for 2 tonight. Strike to Chris. Chris is one of those players who draws a lot of conversation. Media really asking Bo Porter many questions about Chris Carter today. And Chris Carter walked into the dugout to come in and take some batting practice swings and said, "You're talking about me, aren't you?" And Bo said, "Yeah." 0-2.
What made Chris think that?
I guess he thinks people are always talking about him.
Is that because they are?
That's because they are.
He's that big guy with the great power and perceived potential and all the strikeouts, and so it's always a big story.
It is. And a strikeout for Shields. That's number 7. That ends the 6th inning with no runs, a hit, and a man stranded. And after 6, it's 2-1 Astros.
And we take a look at our pitch by pitch. Tonight it's all about, brought to you by Steel, of course, it's all about what Jordan Lyles was able to do tonight. The strikeouts. He picked up one in the second inning, getting Lorenzo Cain, then Billy Butler. That was a key one in the third inning. Also got Jeff Francoeur in the fifth. And on top of that, he picked up a strikeout that led to a double play with the runner going in the sixth inning. Jordan Lyles was really good tonight.
He threw 101 pitches. 65 were strikes in his 6 innings, allowing 6 hits and a run, walking 1, fanning 3. Gives way to Travis Blackley, who pitched last night. And Blackley gave up 2 hits and 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. His ERA is 4.60 as he comes in to face Mike Moustakas. Moustakas was at the plate when Lorenzo Cain was thrown out trying to steal to win the 6th inning. He is 0 for 2 in this game.
Last night when Blackley came on, the pace of the game just slowed to a crawl. And we'll see if it stays that way tonight as well.
That's strike 1. Blackley had 3 effective outings on the road trip, 2 in Detroit, 1 in Pittsburgh. In the Pittsburgh game 5 days ago, he came in with a 4-1 lead in the 6th inning. Was not charged with a run. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Travis Blackley. Astros relievers have won 3. They've lost 11 with a 4.98 ERA, which ranks as the highest in the American League. Hector Ambrose is warming up. Fouled away, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 12,000 plus the paid attendance tonight. 12,324. Bayou Bash night coming up on Saturday night. That's a 6:15 start, and the big weekend festivities begin Friday night at 7:10. It's Eric Bedard and Tommy Malone. Foul ball keeps the count at 1-2 for Mike Moustakas. First round draft choice. Moustakas this year has hit 146 against left-handers, 6 for 41 with 1 homer. Ambrose warming up. This might be a 1-batter appearance here for Blackley. On the other hand, lefty hitting George Kottaras is due up third in the inning, and then Chris Getz follows him and he bats left. So it would seem that the plan would be to get Blackley through the 7th inning before making another move. Curveball's tap foul, and it remains 1-ball, 2 strikes. Talking with some of the Royals broadcasters as we left last night about a guy like Moustakas. First round pick, second player drafted in 07. Came up for part of the 2011 season. Last year, his first full major league year. He hit 20 homers. He drove in 73 runs. This year, he's struggling. That is not at all unusual for a young player, even a first rounder. Rolled out to second. Altuve's there. And it's out, number 1. And it's kind of part of the process, isn't it, for a major league organization? That's pretty much what we live through with young players quite often.
It is. Even if you get that established veteran, you'll get that occasional down year. And there's no explaining it. The player certainly himself doesn't have an explanation. Feel like you do everything you can to be ready. And then, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen.
Wow. That looked like Alan Ashby leaving the parking garage after an Astros game. Jeff Francoeur has a triple and a strikeout tonight.
You wouldn't know because you're still up here taking your notes.
Some of us are rather leisurely leaving the ballpark at night. What would we have, a 3-hour and 45-minute extravaganza last night?
You're out there putting cameras around, aren't you?
It's a line shot foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. We have to savor the game. We have to go over all the important plays, Ash.
That's a good thing to do.
Yes. Well, you know, and it's been said many times, we used to have these media dining rooms. The scouts used to come in after a game. People would sit around and talk about the game. Same thing with the players. They used to sit around the clubhouse and talk about the game.
Bonding time.
Don't do it anymore. Foul back 1-2. Jim DeShay said back in your day, Ash.
Oh, he didn't know my day.
Well, when you and he were teammates for a little while anyway, back in the '86 Astros era, that typically a lot of you guys would stay in the clubhouse after you'd be talking over the game, and the wives would be waiting upstairs in their waiting room, and after about an hour they'd call down and say, hey, when are you guys going to come up here anyway?
Never happened to me. I was usually that guy. My family would be hanging out, and I was keenly aware and trying to be the good family man. I'd go try to take care of that situation. But yeah, I mean, that's long been a part of this game, is the guys that do hang around in the clubhouse and tip a few together and just talk and feel the game.
And Craig Biggio would pull up a chair and listen to Buddy Bell discuss things and learn about it from him and others. And it gets passed down, but not so much in person in those clubhouse discussions anymore.
Yeah, that certainly has changed. If you want to learn about the game, all you do is go to Twitter now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's that embarrassing foul ball off your back leg, this one on the knee. Yeah, Twitter's the place for all the information.
Oh, okay. So you can get on Twitter and say, why didn't we hit and run in the fourth inning? Players have gotten into trouble with what they've done on Twitter this year again.
Can certainly happen.
It's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Frank Gore. It's an evolving season for the Astros. They've gone through several different people in their bullpen as the season has progressed, but it's not been what they had hoped when they've led after 7 innings this year. Big cut there. Frank Gore down on strikes. Now number 2.
2013 All-Star voting is now open. Help send your favorite Astros, including last year's All-Star Jose Altuve, to the 2013 Midsummer Classic. It's in New York City this year. Vote early and vote often at Astros.com. All-Star voting closes July 4th.
July 4th? We need more time to analyze that. We'll take it down to July 3rd and vote.
How about that for a final day? Put your mind on maybe some other things. Make sure you get your voting in that day.
George Kataris, the batter. Here's ball 1 to him. The Astros have lost 6 times when they've had the lead after 7 innings. That is certainly an area in which they would love to improve. Ball 1 to Kataris. He drove in the run for the Royals in the 3rd inning with a double to left center off Jordan Lyles, the only run he allowed. And it certainly was an outstanding version of Jordan Lyles tonight. 6 innings, 1 run, walking 1, and showing a fine variety of pitches.
So is 101 pitches, do you suppose, about the limit now on Jordan Lyles?
I don't know. Bo Porter said before the game tonight that he could go 100 or more. And he had said those first couple of starts that he wanted to get Jordan out of the game after 5 innings in those cases, when he had a lead, and just to give him a positive feeling about the way he had pitched. And I understand completely where he's coming from. Rather than with a 22-year-old right-hander, send him back out for the 6th. He gives up 2 or 3 runs. He loses the lead, maybe gets tagged with an L, and it's not a positive feeling.
Well, yeah, I guess there are arguments that can go both ways there.
Right. And I know what you're going to say, I think.
Well, you know, I don't have a problem with that theory at all. I might be inclined to be trying to get these guys on this very close pitch taken at knee area on the curveballs has not been called a lot tonight. But that inclination to have guys learn that as a starter, you go deep in a ball game and you try to bring home the win.
Right. Well, in this case, the bullpen helps big time in the 7th as Blackley has a 1-2-3 framed. 7th inning stretch time comes to Minute Maid Park, and it's 2-1 Astros.
It shouldn't be a surprise that one of the better catches of the game tonight, a foul ball, was made by none other than the Oral Roberts baseball team. I'm sitting with Danny Clement, and you guys are getting ready to play a game in the Southland Conference Tournament. I knew there had to be a reason they caught a foul ball so well. So you're getting ready to play A&M Corpus, and you decided to take in some baseball beforehand.
Yeah, we got a big W today in the first round, and looking for another W tomorrow against Corpus.
Well, not bad, and thanks to you guys, the Oral Roberts Eagles baseball team. You're our progressive fans of the game. Good luck tomorrow, you guys. Let's send it back upstairs.
Go ORU. Nice.
That guy looks like he should have been a power hitter, not the great defensive player.
It off home 7th inning. He doubled in the 2nd inning on a line drive lost in the lights by Jeff Francoeur, and he struck out in the 4th. 2-1 lead for the Astros. He pulled off that one. It's a 1-1 count. Here's where Shields is difficult. He's his own reliever, Ash. Even though he's trailing in this game, he can stay in, give his offense a chance to take this one late.
But you saw the numbers when he goes 7th through the 9th innings. They're rather tiny in terms of what the offense is able to do against him. So why turn to the bullpen as long as he keeps that pitch count down somewhat?
This is the 24th straight start for him of at least 6 innings. Third time through the order, 159. It's 2-2. In his 4 losses, Kansas City has scored 5 runs.
And, you know, I think there's a lot to be learned for a starting pitcher who has become good, but to learn about how to get to this stage where you pitch 7th on through the ball game whenever possible.
You make a very good point. Line shot on one hop with the shift on. There's Getz throwing him out. 1 out. This is obviously premium stuff, what Shields provides. 200 innings plus year after year. He's at 98 pitches so far.
Well, he throws strikes, and it keeps the pitch count down. He may be in his final inning of work, but he gives you that good one just about every time he goes out to the hill.
6 straight years of 200 innings plus. 6 straight years winning in double figures. Jimmy Paredes has struck out and bounced into a force play. He rolls this one foul. Strike 1 to Jimmy. Trevor Crowe is on deck. That was quite a big deal, though. It was Shields and Wade Davis, who started the first game of this series for one of the top major league prospects, outfielder Will Myers, Jake Odorizzi, who started for Tampa Bay last night, a couple of other prospects. The Rays moved him. Moved a guy who had been nothing but tremendous for them. 1 ball, 1 strike. They had David Price, of course, to take over as the #1 guy, and they have other starters who are younger and more inexpensive. Near the foul line, and 3 players give chase, but it is in the stands. 1-2. But for the Royals, it was something of a surprise to many that they would give up a young prospect like Myers after bringing so many of these first-round choices to the big leagues and giving them everyday playing time, and a young pitcher like Odorizzi to acquire a 31-year-old starter.
Well, you can wait and tell your fans to wait, and the golden days are coming. They're out there in the future. Or you can go out and try to get it done as quickly as possible. And obviously the Royals opted on the latter option.
2-2. Their general manager, Dayton Moore, said in an article, "The fans want to know when we are going to win, and I wish I could tell them exactly when it is going to happen, but you just never know in baseball. All we can do is keep working every day." Line shot left field. Here's a charging Gordon there for out number 2. That guy can play left field.
Yes, he can, and I wonder if Gordon might not have gotten caught here with the lights affecting this line drive.
I have.
Create memories, save money, and have fun with Astros baseball. No matter what your special event, we'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to find out more.
2 outs quickly for Shields in this 2-1 game. It's Trevor Crowe batting. He's 0 for 2. Bottom of the order. Paredes hitting 7th. Crowe hitting 8th. Gonzalez hitting 9th. Nobody's reached base. 0 for 7. Hosmer will toss to Shields, and he gets there ahead of Crowe for a 1-2-3 7th. That sends this 2-1 ball game to the 8th in just a moment. After we take a look at this Firestone Extra Mile Index. The Oklahoma City Redhawks are the subject of our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile Index. And we take a look at their 11-run ball game against Memphis on the 15th. Another 11-run output against New Orleans on April 27th. And a 15-run outslugging of Fresno back on May 21st for the Redhawks. Hector Ambry's warming up for Houston. Travis Blackley had a 1-2-3 7th inning in relief of Jordan Lyles. Now lefty hitting Chris Getz leads it off in the 8th. He's 1 for 3. And there's strike 1. Jimmy Paredes in tight for the bunt possibility from Getz. Kelvin Herrera warming up for Kansas City. Getz hangs into a .240 batting average against lefties. It's a 1-1 count. A lot of times a hitter like Getz would just be trying to focus on hitting to the opposite field against a lefty. The Astros playing that way. They have center fielder over in left center. He's showing bunt. It's a strike. That's a big call for Blackley now because that will take the bunt away with 2 strikes in the count. He's really a good bunter.
Not sure why he pulled off of this curveball, because that softer pitch should be theoretically a little easier to bunt.
True. Curveball's a good, easier pitch to bunt. Yeah. It's going down, and it's easier to just put that ball on the ground. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chris Getz went to Wake Forest and Michigan in college. Came up with the White Sox. Drafted the year the White Sox beat the Astros in the World Series, 05. First came to the big leagues in 08. That's off the plate, and it's 3-2 now. And one thing Blackley wants to make sure he does not do is walk Chris Getz here. He walked him. Brett Oberholzer at Oklahoma City. He had that one outing for the Astros, but he came up with a beauty in last night's game for the Red Hawks. He retired 20 of the first 22. Went 7 shutout innings.
9 strikeouts to go with those 7 innings, and just another guy performing well. Part of that first place club.
Bullpen move. Blackley leaving. Ambrose coming in. 2-1 Houston. Runner at first. Nobody out in the 8th inning. Back in 1. Watch the Astros get the lead early with a 2-run homer from J.D. Martinez in the first inning. The Royals scored on a triple by Francoeur, a double by Kataris in the 3rd. It's been 2-1 ever since then. Now in the 8th, after a leadoff walk from Blackley to Getz, Hector Ambrose becomes pitcher number 3 for Houston tonight.
You can see that whip says he's had a lot of base runners this year. More hits than innings. 8 walks on top. And now it great opportunity where if you can get that ground ball, get a double play here in the inning and aid yourself as you get into the heart of this order. Alex Gordon is a couple of hitters away from stepping into the box.
Ambrose held on to a lead when he came in Monday night against Kansas City. Went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs. Coming into the 6-4 lead in the 8th inning. Around a bunt. There is strike 1 to Escobar.
make a manager crazy? Let him put the bunt on and then take a strike.
Yeah. Well, if he bunts the runner over, does Gordon get an intentional walk?
Wait a minute. I see where you're going. I was spinning in the wrong direction. I would think that would be hard to do. And I'm with you all the way, but do you put the potential winning run on base?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's probably what Ned Yost is thinking. They're going to go ahead and pitch to Gordon with a man in scoring position, right?
If I were Ned Yost, I would certainly accept that possibility.
Embrys leads the club in holds with 7. In the dirt, and a throw to first. They've got him hung up. Carter with a throw, and the tag by Marwin Gonzalez. They get him. Chris Getz was hung up. The pitch was in the dirt, and Castro came right out of there with it. Fired to Carter to start that play to take care of the base runner here.
There was a recent play where Jose Altuve was at third base and wound up scoring on a pitch that just got away from the catcher a little ways because he had a great anticipation. I think that's what Chris Getz did right here. He anticipated a pitch in the dirt, didn't figure that Castro would come up with the ball cleanly, and he was going to try to take second base. Castro simply gets him with a terrific play.
2 to 3 to 6. It's not a caught stealing. And Escobar has a 1-2 count, but a big time play by Castro to come up with that pitch out of the dirt.
Does that ever change the complexion of this inning?
Oh, it's night and day now. Broken bat roller. Paredes fumbled it a little bit, but then fired and got him. Woo. That was a little shaky, but Paredes had the arm to make up the difference and take care of out number 2.
Brought that right fielder's arm in to play third base right there, and it paid off. But like you say, a little bit shaky setting up to that point. Ooh. Bring that heat across the diamond. Needed every bit of it.
A laser throw for out number 2. Now Gordon bats. Gordon has a single and a walk in 3 trips tonight. Sizzling hitter. He looks at ball 1 with Billy Butler on deck. The way James Shields has been going, the Astros bullpen is really needing to do a job here, leading 2-1.
This is setting up nicely for the Astros. You've got the 3-hitter, Gordon and Butler, 3 and 4, really the only guys swinging good bats for Kansas City. If you can end this inning with one of those 2 guys, then you set up toward the middle and bottom part of that order, and it should favor the Astros in that 9th inning bid.
23rd appearance for Embrys. He's in the top 5 in the American League. It's in for a strike, and it's 2-1 to Gordon. Gordon has 5 hits in this 3-game series and 4 walks. In tight to him. Now a 3-ball 1-strike count to Alex Gordon.
Yeah, when Lyles got him to check his swing and hit a little ground ball back to the mound in the 5th inning, that was extremely rare.
And that was one of the big outs for Lyles because there were 2 men on base at the time. Jose Veras and Wesley Wright are getting loose. Fly ball to center. Robbie Grossman over, and J.D. Martinez is there. Martinez with the grab. And that big play by Castro to get Getz helps the Astros to a scoreless 8.
still leading the Royals 2-1. And some of you watching this game right now don't have CSN in your own home. If your TV provider doesn't carry CSN yet, call them and tell them you want CSN so you can have the very best coverage of your Astros. This is your network, Astros fans, and you deserve it. To get the facts, go to iwantcsnhouston.com. Let's send it back upstairs to Bill and Al.
Tell them you want to see Layla Rahimi every night.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. Bottom of the 8th inning coming now. And it's Kelvin Herrera out of the bullpen for Kansas City. With a 2-1 Houston lead. Another good night for James Shields. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs allowed. He gives way to Herrera, who's walked 7 and fanned 23 with a 2-4 record and a 4.66 ERA.
Got a pretty good workhorse as well. This is his 19th appearance.
He has the second highest average fastball velocity in the majors, 97.0. Behind Aroldis Chapman's 97.3.
So you know what the hitters for the Astros are hearing as they leave the dugout. Dial it up, boys. Guy can flat bring it.
Marwin Gonzalez is going to try to turn it around. He's 0 for 2. Gonzalez with a liner to left. Gordon over. Running catch, 1 out.
Alex Gordon just makes this look routine, but that's all about the jump on this play and then getting the good read.
Herrera has been victimized by 8 long balls in 19 2/3 innings. Robbie Grossman, as the catcher Kataris goes out to talk with his battery mate. We'll wait. Shields did not walk anybody tonight in 7 innings. He fanned 7, threw 104 pitches. Another fine outing. He lost 2-1 at Oakland in his last start. He's losing 2-1 right now. Royals have Butler, Hosmer, and Kane due up in the 9th. That's strike 1 to Grossman.
99 miles an hour. That'll do in a pinch.
Shields threw 104 pitches and 74 of them were strikes. Wow.
And I would say probably a good percentage of those that weren't strikes were intended not to be strikes.
No balls, 2 strikes. Herrera is making his first appearance in this series. He's 23 years old, from the Dominican. It's 1-2.
There's your triple digit 100-mile-an-hour heater.
Ferris in the Astros bullpen. Herrera pitched 76 times last year. That's a little foul ball.
You know what I find kind of surprising, I guess, is that Kelvin Herrera is 5'10". Billy Wagner may not have been able to jump to 5'10". I'm not really sure, but you get some big time arms in some small packages.
Yeah.
And yet scouting is really about finding that big bodied guy that, I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't pan out that way.
But there's an even smaller guy, Tim Collins,
yes,
in the bullpen for Kansas City. He's listed at 5'7". And last year, Tim Collins struck out 93 in 69 innings.
Big time arm. And he's not even sturdy. He's just a little guy.
It's 2-2. Those are the real nuggets that the scouts can bring in, who are undervalued because they're undersized. Grossman checked his swing, and it's 3-2 to Robbie now. Herrera came in Sunday against Oakland with the game tied 3-3 in the 8th. And he gave up a home run to Yoenis Cespedes to lose the game. There's a shot up the middle, and what a play! A shortstop by Escobar. That is absolutely amazing.
I don't know that I've ever seen better than this, Brownie.
This is unbelievable by Escobar.
The glove portion is pretty spectacular on its own. But how quickly, at that point, while running full speed to center field, he turns and throws this ball is astounding. Wow. You will not see better than this.
No. It was amazing that he grabbed the ball first. Look how far he had to stretch out, and then he got his balance back. And as he was spinning, he fired a strike.
Most guys come out of that spin and need another step to throw the ball.
Yeah. Whirling dervish of a play from shallow center field. Altuve the batter now. Ball one.
There have been some great plays by infielders through the years. Shortstops usually get those tremendous chances, but you won't see again one better than that.
I didn't really think he'd be able to pick the ball up. I thought it was a ground ball single to center field.
But like I said, the glove portion was spectacular, but what he did after that was even better.
It was, you're right. Sensational play by Escobar.
Young man, you're going to be on some highlight reels.
In the dirt. 2-1 to Altuve. It's a 3-ball, 1-strike count with Jason Castro on deck. Last night, Kansas City banged out 13 singles and won the game 7-3. Jose Veras is getting ready for Butler, Hosmer, and Kane in the 9th inning. Altuve draws a walk. That's the 12th walk for Altuve this year. Dave Island out to the mound. The Royals have played 3 previous rubber games, and all have come on the road, and they won all 3. 3-game series this year. They certainly have a shot. If Herrera can get this out, they go to the 9th, trailing by 1. It'll be Castro, who has 2 of the Astros' 7 hits. With that disturbing home runs allowed trend by Herrera, something that has kept them from doing better in the late innings. Here's a guy who's the 8th inning setup man for Greg Holland, the closer, and Herrera has 4 losses. JD Martinez on deck, and there's strike 1.
I'd like to know how a guy who can hit 100 miles an hour does not have a strikeout per inning. He's just under it, but doesn't have a strikeout per inning on the course of his career. Really surprising to me.
Last year, 84 innings, 77 strikeouts for Herrera. Goes to first.
It looked like a very unsure toss there to first base.
Dave Clark's right in the mix there, isn't he?
He's going to make the play if first baseman doesn't.
Yeah, could.
How many feet have to be in foul territory for a coach?
I think at least 3. Runner goes. Here's the throw from Kataris. Not in time. A stolen base. Altuve, number 5.
The running game's really slowed down of late for the club, but maybe this can kick-start it. That helmet can become your enemy when you're diving like this.
Oh, yeah. Can open up a gash. Altuve now 5 of 7, and the Astros are 22 of 37 in stealing. He's there with a 1-1 count. And Castro has been doing well when he hits to left center and left field this year. It's 1-2. That one registered 98.
Might be his changeup.
Laced on a line to right. Francoeur back over him. Off the wall. That'll score Altuve to make it 3-1. Castro in his second. RBI double for Jason and a very big hit with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the 8th. Well, he had 2 strikes and 2 outs in the first when he got that looping single and rode home on the Martinez 2-run home.
Yeah, this is a very good night. And when Jason Castro can turn on a pitch this kind of velocity on the inner part of the plate and hang it out to right field, this turns him into the kind of hitter who really can hit in the heart of the order, driving in runs. He's not just that opposite field hitter.
3rd hit of the night for Castro. That's his 13th double of the year. And an awfully big swing of the bat. Now a 2-run lead. And it's Martinez batting. He has a homer and a single. Martinez with ball 1. Such a big hit. Butler leading off the 9th inning, and then Hosmer and Kane to follow. Castro is the doubles leader on the Astros with 13 now. Just as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We see the opposite field homer by J.D. Martinez in the first. Ball 1 strike for J.D. Hit the ball deep to the warning track in center in the 6th inning, so he's had 3 really good at-bats tonight. Bounces this one on 1 hop. Here's Hosmer throwing behind the pitcher, and he drops it. And the glove comes off. Castro stopped at third base. It was a bad feed from Hosmer. He just kind of flipped it. Didn't have anything on it, and it was behind the pitcher, Herrera. Tried to reach back and catch it, but dropped the ball.
Hosmer didn't really make a change of direction trying to move into this toss. He just kind of held his ground, and I think that really sets up the 4th throw.
And then a little collision there at first when the glove came off.
They've called this an error on the pitcher, Herrera. For me, that toss set up Herrera to have very little chance.
The throw was behind him.
Absolutely.
All right. There's at first and third with 2 outs, and it's Chris Carter. Carter's 1 for 3. Strike. It's got to be an error on somebody. Brandon Barnes is in the on-deck, or no, it's Carlos Pena in the on-deck circle. Brandon Barnes has gone into pinch run for Martinez. Pretty good size lead. Carter fouls it back. No balls, 2 strikes. Barnes came in last night to pinch run. He took off, and because the play was botched by the shortstop Escobar, who dropped the throw, he was able to get to third, but it was really caught stealing. Time called. And now Kataris wants to go out and talk with Herrera. Tim Collins warming up in the bullpen. Go back to a 2-out walk to Altuve. He stole the base. That was a big play in this inning. Even though Castro's double would have scored him, it's just the thought that it puts in the mind of the hitter that there's a runner at second now, and he doesn't really need an extra base hit to get that extra run home. Castro really turned on a ball and juiced it. Runner going, swing and a miss, and struck him out. We go to the 9th inning after the Astros pick up an insurance tally in the 8th on 1 hit with 1 error and 2 left. It's 3-1.
Pirates comes on. Back to the American League West on Friday for the start of a 3-game set against the very irritating Oakland A's. Astros pregame live starts at 6:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. And let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. That'll be Tommy Milone, left-hander for the Oakland A's, against Eric Bedard. Matchup of left-handers. Bedard looking for that first win on the year. Got to 6 innings last time out. And Tommy Milone has done a really nice job. Good ERA and a nice whip just over that 1 mark.
Well, the Astros make changes. Brandon Barnes, after pinch running for J.D. Martinez, has stayed in to play center field. And with that, center fielder Robbie Grossman moves to left field. Martinez out of the game, and that's the outfield alignment now. And the pitching alignment changes with Jose Veras, the closer, in. He's pitcher number 4. Ambrose in 1 inning, allowed no hits, no runs, with no walks or strikeouts. And Veras, the hot hand out of the bullpen, 7 saves in 9 opportunities for the year. 3 saves in his last 3 appearances. No hits allowed in his last 6 appearances, covering 6 innings with 5 saves. And Billy Butler is the first to bat here in the 9th inning. Butler 0 for 3. Veras in his last 13 outings has allowed an .098 batting average, 4 for 41. That's ball 1.
He had to battle those deep counts last time out at what turned out to be an effective outing. But sure would love to be able to get ahead and stay ahead on the hitters.
That was Monday night in the 6-5 Houston win. He had a 1-2-3 inning, but did throw a lot of pitches. 16. In for a strike, and it's 1-1 to Butler. And in that game, Veras surprised us when Kane was leading off the 9th inning. He struck him out looking on a big curveball. Since May 3rd, batters 0 for 18 against Veras. He had thrown a curve that wasn't a good one earlier in that sequence, but he dropped one on Kane that was magnificent. He struck out Escobar and got Gordon on a ground out. That one's outside, and it's 2-1. That was Blackley. Won 1 inning. He allowed no hits, no runs with a walk and a couple of strikeouts. So the relief corps has been very sturdy for Houston tonight, trying to preserve win number 2 for Jordan Lyles. Hosmer on deck. Fastball misses, and it's 3-1 now for Veras. Royals trying to avoid another 1-run loss. They've lost 11 by a single digit this year of their 21 losses. Ground ball to Veras. 1 out.
On what looked to me to be ball 4.
Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Concluding game of this series, a day off tomorrow, and then right back into it Friday night against the A's. Eric Hosmer's 0 for 3. Yeah, the A's have just ripped up the Astros this year. Houston trying to set a different tone in the season series. 0-6 against Oakland. That's strike 1. And Tommy Milone will take his 2-0 record to the mound Friday night. Eric Bedard 0-2 for the Astros, but Eric has had some good outings recently. That one veers inside, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Hosmer. Astros have an all-time record of 18-14 against Kansas City. There's Bedard on the right, Dallas Keuchel on the left. Those lefties hang out together, don't they? Altuve at second, over to Carter, 2 outs.
Is that the case, or is it just that the righties don't want to hang with the lefties?
That could be it too. He likes it. 1 out away from a win. And it would be a 2-1 start to the homestand. The Astros are 7-17 at Minute Maid Park this year. A win tonight would give Bo Porter's club a 4-4 record over the last 8. And now it's Kane. Kane singled in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. And the Royals have not had a hit since his 6th inning single with 2 outs. Raymond helped his 6 hits tonight. And drops low for ball 1 on Kane. Barris's ERA has come down from 5.25 to 3.50 during this excellent stretch of work from May 3rd through tonight. It's 1-1. And the veteran hoping to slam the door on the Royals here and give the Astros this series win with another one to come for the Royals in Kansas City later on down the line. Back to the AL West for the weekend, and then the Colorado Rockies Monday and Tuesday here. Foul ball. 1-2, and a spirited crowd is on its feet. Well, they were treated to excellent work by Jordan Lyles. 2-run homer by J.D. Martinez in the first. And Lyles tucked that lead away. He's been backed up by Blackley and Ambrose and now Veras. Just off the plate to Kane.
Just keep painting it close.
Ball to shortstop. Marlon Gonzalez over to Chris Carter, and that does it on an Astros series win over the Kansas City Royals. Well, they took a tight one Monday night, 6-5, with Veras closing it out for Dallas Keuchel. And now the outfielders get together and celebrate this 3-1 win. Another well-pitched game for the Astros. They've had 6 really good starting pitching performances in a row. 3-1, the Astros win it tonight.